Hello and welcome to the evening news for today, Saturday, June 7, 2014. I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for joining us. In the headlines, President Ramotar says snap election could end parliamentary impasse. GuyExpo affected by low labour turnout. Dynamic Airways joins aviation industry. GuyExpo 2014 launched and medical outreach successfully hosted in Allboys Town. Now for the news in detail. The calls from the political, national and regional bodies for elections might just be answered, as today President Donald Ramotar said that elections are a possibility to end the current parliamentary deadlock.
With a Partnership for National Unity refusing to pass the Anti-Money Laundering and Countering the Financing of Terrorism Bill, President Donald Ramotar today hinted at the possibility of an election to solve Parliament's worries.
The situation at this point in time, it's not that we don't want local government elections, but we have, in a way, there's a certain level of uncertainty. I don't know what will happen if the impact of this anti-money laundering bill hits home very, very hard on our economy, and whether we might have to go back and have another mandate. I don't know. So there's all of the. This is something I don't want. I would prefer to go to the local government elections, but I can't shut my eyes to the political reality that exists and say it and make a blunt promise that I will go to local government elections tomorrow, as I would have done had we had the majority in the parliament at this point in time.
Ramotar said that the opposition lacks the sense of patriotism, hence their stance on the passage of the legislation.
It calls for love of people, love of country, to avoid the worst form of this. I'm even advised that even if we pass the bill today, that it will not be automatic that everything will be okay, that there are still some hoops that we might have to go through on this difficult thing. Why, as national leaders, do you want to expose people to the hardship and the harshness that this can bring about?
APNU's leader David Granger yesterday said that his party will not unconditionally support the passage of the legislation.
I met the president on the 12th of May. I met him again last Monday, and I will continue to meet the president because we feel this is in the national interest. But the PPP doesn't intend to budge, and do pay attention to the language the president is using. He's calling on the APNU to unconditionally support the amendments which they put on the table. What sort of language is that? Is that the language of compromise? Is that the language of negotiation? Why should we unconditionally support anything? So that's where we are. We're not going to unconditionally support what the PPP puts on the table. We're going to negotiate so that all three sides, APNU, AFC and the PPP, can arrive at an outcome which is satisfactory to the Guyanese people.
Guyana was recently referred to the Financial Action Task Force by Caribbean Action Task Force. On a global scale, financial institutions have been cautioned about the risk of doing business with Guyana by CFAT-F. Reporting for the evening news, Gomati Gangadin.
The best days of the sugar industry are still ahead, according to President Donald Ramotar, who also noted that the industry has been affected by the need for restructuring as well as a low labour turnout in the fields. Ruben Stobie has the details.
Speaking at a press conference at State House today, President Ramotar urged the press to give GuyExpo a chance to breathe, since he said it has been given a lot of bad press lately. He said GuyExpo should be given the opportunity to concentrate on work that is necessary to bring back the industry to full vitality, since he has every confidence the best days of the industry is yet to come.
The difficulties that GuyExpo has been facing in recent years has to do with the need for restructuring as a result of the change in the trading regime that has occurred internationally.
Ramotar also said GuyExpo needs to address the situation of low labour turnout in the fields.
GuyExpo as a whole has been operating at just over 60% turnout in the field, and in some estates it has been as low in the low 40%.
Emphasizing the need for the restructuring of the sugar industry, President Ramotar also called for support and understanding from stakeholders, including the media. He said criticism is always welcome, but it must be constructive. GuyExpo was recently commended by the President for surpassing its first crop target of 74,842 tons of sugar. The President had acknowledged that this achievement was not easy and expressed admiration for the persistence and hard work of the GuyExpo community of stakeholders who made it possible. Reporting for the evening news, Ruben Stobie.
Last evening, Guyana welcomed another airline to the aviation industry during a well-attended function at Duke Lodge in Kingston. The details from Gabriela Patram.
United States registered Dynamic Airways officially launched its services to Guyana last evening with the approval of the Guyana Civil Aviation Authority, GCAA. This newscast understands that flights will commence between New York and Guyana at an introductory cost of US $499. Dynamic Airways has partnered with Guyana's very own Roraima Airways to bring the service to Guyanese. Speaking at the launch, Chief Executive Officer of Roraima Airways, Captain Gerald Gavaya, expressed the hope that the airline will be able to fill the void left by the national airline Guyana Airways years ago.
I want to say to you this. This would not have been possible. And I say this without any excuse or any apology. This would not have been possible if we did not have today the government appreciation of the need to market Guyana. I have been on the forefront of saying enough is not being done. But I will say to you that after Delta left Guyana, the government woke up. Especially Minister Irfan Ali, the Minister of Transport, and particularly the President. They started to look across the world to see how they could facilitate this.
Meanwhile, Senior Vice President Business Development of Dynamic Airways, Tom Johnson, stated his happiness in launching the service. He noted that there are other airlines in the industry, but he guaranteed that Dynamic will stand out.
We are doing a number of different things, as again, my second half of my face of Guyana has done. We're going to be hiring a lot of Guyanese flight attendants, and I think this is the first. I think there is a great partnership right here between a Guyanese airline and a U.S. 121 carrier. And I think that is going to do nothing but have the future of this country in mind and be here for the long haul and expand and expand and expand.
Head of State President Donald Ramotar welcomed the important development.
Now it is a very important development for us because we have seen tourism as one of the new growth poles in our economy, and this will certainly help in that regard in arrivals and increasing and making it easier to get to Guyana. It also, the traveling public, the business public who travel to and from North America in particular, I think that they can expect more competition, and we know with more competition we get better prices as well.
Also speaking at the event was Tourism Minister Irfan Ali, Transport Minister Robson Ben, and Agricultural Minister Dr. Leslie Ramsamy, who all welcomed the development. Persons flying from Guyana to JFK on any of the 4 days, Tuesday, Thursdays, Fridays, and Sundays, will be required to pay US $575 and will be allowed 2 pieces of luggage at £55 each and 1 hand luggage at £25. Reporting for the Evening News, I'm Gabrielle Patram.
President of the Tourism and Hospitality Association of Guyana, Kit Nascimento, says that contrary to the picture that is being painted by many, tourism is not a young and vying sector in Guyana. Let's find out more in this report.
Nascimento made this statement at the 20th anniversary celebrations of the Wilderness Explorers Tourism Company, which was hosted at the Cara Lodge on Friday evening. According to him, though the minister in the Ministry of Tourism is trying and continuously makes promises, many of those promises are left empty and void and are never acted upon. Referring to a recent incident, Nascimento noted that the tourism industry investors had submitted a proposal for tax incentives to be granted to them, but it was ignored.
Prior to the budget, we had provided the Minister of Finance with a detailed proposal for tax incentives for the industry, which would bring us in line, that's all we're asking for, bring us in line with the incentives enjoyed by our regional competitors in the Caribbean and Central America. Incentives actually based on the recommendations of a consultant that the government itself engaged through the IDB. So what I was doing was expressing our disappointment in the fact that the budget did not reflect the recommendations that we made. Until it does, we will remain uncompetitive with our prices.
He noted too that as a result of the lack of tax incentives, Guyana cannot and will not be able to compete on the regional and international market since those countries were receiving tax incentives from their government of the day. Nascimento implored the president to address this issue, noting that Guyana has the potential to make tourism a major contributor to the gross domestic product, GDP, if not the biggest one.
Having established the fact that the private sector long ago took the risks and invested in building and beginning to build a tourism industry in this country, we look now for our government to embrace that initiative, to embrace that financial commitment, to embrace that risk, Mr. Minister and Mr. President, that the private sector took those so many years ago, and partner with us to put Guyana firmly on the map as a tourism destination of choice in the world. Partner with us.
Reporting for the Evening News, Gomti Gangadin.
Guyana's premier trade fair, GuyExpo, was launched at the Guyana International Conference Center with President Donald Ramotar and Acting Tourism Minister Irfan Ali urging sustained growth and development in core areas from Guyana's private sector. More in this report.
Addressing the gathering of entrepreneurs and potential exhibitors at the launching ceremony, President Ramotar underscored the need for the private sector to invest in Guyana's tourism and natural resource sectors, noting that the private sector plays a pivotal role in Guyana's economic well-being.
We have to recognize now the knowledge that we have. We understand how much harm can be done to the environment and to the world. And as we grow, we note that we are becoming more integrated internationally, and what happens in one country will have a greater and greater impact on other countries as well. And the new energy that we're beginning to pursue, while they will be less polluting, at the same time the variety of them, that they can create a huge industry and development by themselves.
He noted too that it would be remiss of the government to urge private sector investment and further development in the manufacturing sector with the current high cost of energy.
The governor of the bank, of the CDB, pointed out to the importance of energy in the development of a very strong manufacturing sector. And he pointed out to the weakness of the Caribbean and how expensive energy is in this region, while at the same time we have a huge potential to develop the energy sector.
Meanwhile, Acting Tourism Minister Ali also underlined the need for private sector investments and partnerships to maximize capacity and production out of resources available. Ali, who also serves as Minister of Housing and Water, contended that the investment in the housing sector was vital, since development in such an area would be of immense benefit to a large amount of other sectors, including the security and tourism sectors.
A prime value would be attached to lands in a particular area. Historically, the Lamaha Gardens, the Prashad Nagar, and so on. So, a land a year ago that was allocated for $300,000, for example, would carry an equity value of almost $7 million, $6 million. And that is because of the mix of development. That is because of the cross effect of bridging the public and private capital to the benefit of the low-income earner.
This year's GuyExpo is being held under the theme Transformation, Partnering for a Better Guyana, and will follow the trend of a long history of successful trade expositions. Emphasis will be placed on the exhibitors as the organizers stray away from the entertainment aspect of the exposition. Shania Singh for the evening.
More news still ahead. Stay tuned. This is the Evening News. This is the Evening News. Welcome back. Toronto-based international recording female Qasida singers, Guyanese-born Nazima Hussain and her mother Sakina Hussain will be special guests at the Sukrana program on June 15. According to the release, the program begins at 13 hours at the Anna Catherine Islamic Complex, West Coast, Demerara. Nazima and her mom, Sakina, along with her another sibling, Samiza, some years ago formed a singing group that originated from the island of Leg 1. They started singing at a very early stages through the Amsterdam Masjid at Leg 1 under the theme Glimpses of Islam Through the Ages, a musical play depicting the prophets of Allah from Prophet Adam to Prophet Muhammad. In this report, you'll hear that 2 companies are now aboard with the Guyana Festival after contributing $3 million to the event.
As preparations continue for the inaugural Guyana Festival, Windsor Estates and Bai Shan Ling on Friday afternoon donated a sum of $2 million and $1 million respectively to the Tourism Industry and Commerce Ministry. Tourism Minister Irfan Ali congratulated the new sponsors for recognizing the importance of the event.
As we said, we will keep announcing our artists and those that will make this 3 days very special, and also our sponsors who are ensuring that the festival is indeed well financed and have enough resources to ensure its success.
The company's representative endorsed the event, explaining that they see their contribution as part of the wider mandate of support activities that will foster social cohesion and national unity.
Baishaning get developed in this nice community. Without the support and help, we cannot get developed. That's why we already make up our long-term investment in Guyana. And at the same time, we want to attend more and more such events or functions to do something back to the community. And we understand without the help, we cannot get moved. So that's why we want to do something back so that we can get greater support from the community.
We're actually trying our best to help to propagate Guyana in whatever way we can through building just something unique. I wouldn't say different, but we're trying to bring something in that's quite unique to take current day standards. We're trying to bring in a kind of a North American standard. So we're trying our best. For me, it's a personal contribution also, and it's great to see the government has such young ministers who are doing a phenomenal job.
The Guyana Festival is being held under the theme Song, Soul and Taste and is slated for August 8th to 10th at the Guyana National Stadium. It will see a mixture of the country's traditional music, dance, food, art and craft being exhibited. For the Evening News, I'm Gabriella Patram.
Vanilla, among other local artists, are set to perform at the Guyana National Stadium on August 10 at the Generation Next concert, which is part of the Guyana Festival, slated for August 8 to 10. Gabriella Patram reports.
Minister of Tourism Irfan Ali introduced Melissa Vanilla Roberts as one of the local artists lined up to perform at the Generation Next concert. Minister Ali said that one can expect great talent to be showcased at the Generation Next concert, which is scheduled to be held on August 10th. The concert will help to promote the next generation of Guyana's music industry and help to develop new, young talent. It will be followed by a cook-off of traditional Guyanese cuisines such as duck curry, pepper pot, cook-up, metamji, and black cake.
Vanilla would be singing a new song for the festival, a song called Diggity Wine. I'm very fortunate to hear a piece of know a bit about this song, and this song is called Diggity Wine. So all of you who want to know what a Diggity Wine is, all of you want to feel what a Diggity Wine is, you have to come to the Guyana Festival. Concert Next. Trust me, if you think the new hits from the regional soca champions and so are big and have good vibes, Wait until you hear the diggity wine.
Meanwhile, Roberts is excited to be a part of the event.
I'm really happy to be a part of it, and I'm looking forward for, listen people, this is our thing, right? So I'm looking forward to seeing a packed venue from the first day, which will be on the 8th, until the 10th. So no excuses, we don't have this and that, you're coming out to support.
The Guyana Festival will see a fusion of Guyanese cultures comprising various dramatic performances highlighting drama groups and craft, poetry, dance and paintings, food, drinks among other items. Reporting for the Evening News, I'm Gabriella Patram.
The Home Affairs Ministry on Friday formally handed over $50 million of operational equipment to boost the work of the community policing groups, the CPGs, throughout the country. According to a release, the community policing divisions of 8-2, B2, B3, C2, C3, D1, F1 and F2 each received a brush cutter, while a motor vehicle pickup was given to the LEC 1 CPG. 2 motorcycles were also distributed, one to the Berbice area and the other to D Division CPG. A fiberglass boat was each given to the Wakenham and Linden CPGs, while 2 all-terrain vehicles, one each, was handed over to the Letham CPG and the Mabruma CPG. A 32-seater bus was also made available to aid in the transportation of members of community policing groups during community projects. The equipment was handed over by Home Affairs Minister Clement Rohi to leaders of the various CPGs at the ministry's Brigdam office. Healthy eating and a strict exercise regimen have resulted in the president losing 30 pounds. Let's find out more in this report.
President Donald Ramotar, who was heavily criticized when he assumed office in 2012 about his weight, today announced that he has lost 30 pounds as a result of eating sensibly.
Just decided to cut back on quantity of the foods, eating smaller quantities more regularly, and cut out fatty foods as far as possible. But eating healthy, a lot of greens and not overdoing it with protein. At my age, I don't want to do that. But I would say that eating sensibly, I really had to put aside my sweet tooth, and I continue to work out.
When questioned on whether his weight loss would have been a result of a medical condition, Ramotar responded in the negative.
I get help from when I go into the gym. There are some very good people in the gym, and they all assist me and give me good advice in that regard. But in a way, there are some issues too. I had an old injury on the right knee, and it was acting up a little bit more than usual. So I thought that also losing the weight will help that a great deal.
Questions were raised on the president's health in the last few weeks after it was noticed that he had lost a considerable amount of weight. Shani Singh for the Evening News.
The Guyana Defence Force and the Guyana Police Force teamed up to host a medical outreach in the All Boys Tongue community earlier today as part of the Impact All Boys Tongue project. Bisham Muhammad was there and filed this report.
Almost 3 months after the launch of Impact All Boys Tongue, there has been overwhelming support for the project, which is aimed at creating positive changes in the community. As the project intensifies, the Medical Corps of the Guyana Defence Force, in collaboration with the Guyana Police Force, hosted an outreach in the community earlier today, which saw scores of residents benefiting. The Divisional Commander Clifton Hicken, in an interview with this newscast, said that the residents are responding well to Impact All Boys Tongue.
The community welcomed the initiative. At first, they didn't understand which direction we were going because all-inclusive were not the object. Well, all-inclusive in terms of consultation with the entire community. We had in excess of 75% consultation. But now that it's unfolding gradually and they're seeing providing for the youths recreationally and for establishing vocational training for them, I think they're on board with us now and they're asking us from time to time they're telling us what are the problems that we are having our intervention through stakeholders and interagency approach to meet the needs of the people in All Boys Tongue. And as you can look around, we welcome here all the time. So it's changing to paradise indeed.
He also explained the rationale behind the medical outreach and how it will boost their presence in the community.
This initiative was part of the All Boys Tongue Impact and consultation with the Chief of Staff and the Commissioner. We decided as a joint service that we're going to come and give back to the community in a meaningful way. I think based on what's going on here, the effort is appreciated. We've had a large turnout, and currently, as you see, people are still coming in droves.
Major Natram of the Guyana Defence Force explained the services that were offered to the residents and more so reiterated that this was not the first initiative undertaken by the law enforcement body.
The joint service initiative in Airways Town is a good idea. We have here today, we have a medical outreach. The services we provide VCT, HIV, VCT testing and counseling. We have a lab to test blood sugar. We have 4 doctors are here. And we also have the dental bus, right? We have 3 doctors working on the dental bus. We do outreaches, medical outreaches in communities all the time, right? During the Amerindian month, we do medical outreaches. We do in the hinterland area, either down the Borbis River. More recently, we had done one in Rosal Town. So we are actively involved in the communities, and we also participate in Tong Days, like Linden Tong Day. We had a medical outreach, and this will continue.
The police-initiated project was launched in the community on April 11 and incorporates law enforcement services and social intervention activities. The police force maintained that a significant part of its effort in the initiative is aimed at empowering Alboistang youths to develop skills to become productive and meaningful contributor to society. Bisham Mohammed, The Evening News.
In the region, the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, on Friday said that the Barbados economy continues to face major challenges, including low growth, a very large fiscal deficit, and a high debt burden. The Barbados government has, over the past few weeks, sent home numerous public servants as it seeks to revitalize an ailing economy. An IMF mission, which ended a week-long visit to the island, said that real gross domestic product growth is expected to decline by 0.6% this year, as slightly stronger tourism activity is offset by the impact of the government's deficit reduction efforts. It said that inflation is expected to remain subdued and private sector credit growth weak. The unemployment rate rose to 13.2% in the fourth quarter of 2013. Internationally, an investigation in China has revealed that more than 1,000 officials in the southern province of Guangdong have spouses or children living abroad. China's communist leaders want to stamp out the practice because they believe it is linked to corruption. The practice is not illegal but gives corrupt officials a route to send abroad any money obtained illegally. Guangdong bureaucrats were told to bring their families home, quit their jobs or face demotion. China's state-run news agency Xinhua said the Communist Party in Guangdong had carried out a 2-month investigation into a group known as Naked Officials. The name is applied to Chinese civil servants who have sent family members to live abroad. Some then funnel ill-gotten gains to these overseas relatives, leaving the bureaucrats with few assets in China, or as they say, naked. In case of just joined us, you're watching the Evening News. We now take a look at your bridge reports. The Demerara Harbour Bridge is expected to be closed at 12 hours on Sunday, June 8, 2014, for a period of 1.5 hours, and the Berbice River Bridge is expected to be closed at 11 hours on Sunday, June 8, 2014, for a period of 1.5 hours. And for those of you using the ferry service, the Parika and Supanam ferries are slated to depart their respective locations on Sunday, June 8, 2014 at 12 hours. Both ferries are also slated to return to their respective locations on Sunday, June 8, 2014 at midnight. Join us after the break for sports, sponsored by MACOP. This is the Evening News. Welcome back. Now for a look at sport, but first the headlines. Moving test match was bad judgment, says Dr. Roopnarayan. Darren Bravo was Cricketer of the Year. Atwell goes public for the first time after world title fight, and Sharapova wins French Open. Now for the news in detail. We start with some boxing news. Guyana's world-class boxer Clive Atwell earlier today shared his thoughts on the world title fight against Mexican Johnny Gonzalez while disclosing the current status of the relationship with his management team. Tristan Joseph reports.
Clive Atwell lost by way of technical knockout in the 10th round against Johnny Gonzalez in Mexico on May 24 last. Some say that the outcome of the bout was already premeditated and a foregone conclusion, while others believe that the situation with management might have affected Atwell. President of the Guyana Boxing Board of Control, Peter Abdul, had this to say about Atwell's bout.
It proved beyond the shadow of a doubt that Guyanese fighters belong at the world-class level. He was not blown out by Johnny Gonzalez. In fact, I will be perfectly frank with you. It is our considered opinion, you'll hear more from that, I presume, from Danny and from Mr. Bristol. But it was our considered opinion at the fight that had the fight gone, had it not been stopped on a cut, which we felt was not bleeding into the eye and did not constitute a good and solid reason to stop the fight, we felt that Clive stood a very good chance of knocking out Johnny Gonzalez in the last 2 rounds.
Atwell, who thanked all of his supporters, shed some light on the situation with his management team.
Management have to protect their interests, I have to protect my interests. While at the same time they're protecting theirs, I have to expect them to protect mine. They might make decisions and suggestions that I might not completely agree with, and I will always challenge it, being Clive Atwell. But at the end of the day, it's a relationship, and in every relationship there will always be ups and downs.
Manager of Team Atwell, Ronald Bertsmith, pronounced on the issue of Atwell's purse that was a concern to some.
Ideally, the purse we would have liked was probably maybe around 25. Given the circumstances and given the value of the opportunity, we thought it was worthwhile to accept it. After discussing it with Clive, Clive was consulted on this. We thought that given the opportunities that could arise after the fight, had he won, or as we are standing here, he did not win, but he did exceptionally well, that was worth it for us to not, if we weren't getting what we wanted, which was around 25, to take what we were getting, which ended up somewhere around 40.
Meanwhile, Atwell at the press briefing noted that his next move is to get his house in order before moving forward with his career.
Cricket news. Promising left-hander Darren Bravo was voted West Indies Cricketer of the Year at the award ceremony on Friday evening at the Pegasus Hotel in Jamaica. The left-hander, who during the year scored his maiden Test double century, also took home the West Indies One-Day Player of the Year award. The Women's Cricketer of the Year award went to all-rounder Stephanie Taylor. Veteran batsman Shivnarine Chandapal was adjudged the Test Cricketer of the Year. Off-spinner Sunil Narine pocketed the T20 Cricketer of the Year, while the Emerging Player of the Year was presented to young Barbados fast bowler Miguel Cummings. Among the other awardees were First-Class 4-Day Cricketer of the Year Nikita Miller, First-Class 1-Day Cricketer of the Year Shane Shillingford, and Under-19 Cricketer of the Year Tejnarine Chandapal. Back home, a Partnership for National Unity Member of Parliament Dr. Rupert Rupnarine today revealed that a cricket administration bill does not indicate any possibility of the government intruding the game here. At the same time, he slammed the WICB for the removal of the 3rd Test match here in Guyana. Rajiv Bisnot reports.
Dr. Rupnarine has challenged the WICB to show where in the bill the government is given power over the Guyana Cricket Board, since according to him, the bill, when presented and passed without support from the AFC in Parliament, outlined that very limited role that has been given to the Minister of Sport. The only role the Minister has as it relates to the operations of the GCB is to elect a cricket ombudsman who will oversee the first election. That appointment is done in consultation with the WICB, according to Dr. Rupnarine. The Cricket Administration Bill seeks to provide legal administrative guidelines for cricket, which over the years has become the national sport. The bill makes it illegal for the GCB to establish as a corporate body comprising the Demerara, Essequibo and Berbice cricket boards, all of which will also be made corporate entities. A section of the bill will address the issue of phantom voting for the election of persons for administrative positions. The National Assembly was also told that the bill provides for better financial accountability. As such, the GCB, under this new legislation, will be required to present timely audited financial reports to the National Assembly as well as the National Sports Commission. Dr. Rupnarine claims that the ground used by the WICB to remove the 3rd Test match between the West Indies and New Zealand is without proper foundation, ridiculous, and a case of very bad judgment. I don't see anything in that bill, and I will say it publicly, that indicates any possibility of the government taking control of the Guyana Cricket Board. The ground they used to remove the 3rd Test is without proper foundation. It's ridiculous, and I think it's a case of very bad judgment. I'm hoping that there will be some room for discussion on the matter so that Guyanese will not again deprive of watching Test cricket, Dr. Rupnarine indicated.
Finally, some tennis news. Maria Sharapova drew on her fighting spirit once again to beat Simona Halep in a dramatic final and win her 2nd French Open title. The Russian came through 6-4, 6-7, 6-4 in 3 hours and 2 minutes at Roland Garros. It was the 4th match in a row that saw Sharapova clinch victory in a final set. She has now won 5 Grand Slam titles, taking her to joint 11th on the all-time list alongside Martina Hingis. And with that, we have come to the end of sport, which is sponsored by Marcorp. And that has brought us to the end of the evening news for today, Saturday, June 7, 2014. On behalf of all of us here, I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for watching.